talk about something that's really linked with a video that we did a couple of weeks ago about the invisibility factor. This one we're going to talk about people's perceptions when they don't know that you're blind, in John's case, and what happens when you tell them that you are. So you've probably noticed that John is American. The accent may have given it away.
That is a very good possibility, yes.
It's a good possibility, yes. So John's lived in the UK for a few years now, but when he was in America, he worked in radio, didn't you, John?
I did, yes.
And he wanted to do something similar here on a voluntary basis for different radio stations. So do you want to talk about that experience, John?
Yes, I would, thank you. There were a couple places that we would have really, really nice conversations. I'd phone and say I'm interested and then whatever you'd say. And after mentioning all my experience, we'd get a call back. Not the same day, but almost next day. And we'd have these really, really, really nice conversations of, oh yeah, we can do this with you. And we'd come up with these long-term ideas of all these really fun things we could do to work together. And then I mentioned that I'm blind, and people are very, very good at coming up with reasons not to do something.
So they're hastily backpedaling to get out of meeting up with you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, afterwards, I thought I was going to try a different way to get in. I've always been a bit of a mimic, and I do different voices and such. So I called some of these stations again, and I'd have Goofy say something like, "Hi, you fellers! I sure enjoy the show. Want to make a request?" Whatever Goofy says. And needless to say, they were quite thrilled. And some of these places said, "How quick can you come down? We want to talk with you." And when we went down, they saw my cane, saw I was blind, and I heard the word health and safety a lot. I did not know that those words could be said in such a short period of time.
Yes.
But I will say, I appreciated their honesty in some way. That they said, "Well, we really only wanted you down because you could do these funny voices." And I think being typecast as the person who does the voices is incredibly limiting. And not just limiting per se, you have a very short shelf life.
So how did it make you feel then when you constantly got rejected? Not because of your experience and so on, but simply because you're blind?
Well, obviously, disability or not, if you're constantly rejected, it's going to knock your confidence. And when your confidence is knocked, the attitude that comes with it unfortunately can be quite contagious. And everyone takes the brunt of it.
And I guess that's the same with the ones that just wanted to know because you could do the different voices.
Yes, yes. As I said, in a lot of ways, I appreciate their honesty, because it very well could have been, "Oh yeah, we'll have you aboard." You know, if I do something once or twice, you hear the funny voices, and okay, shelf life is over.
I don't think that all of the ones that rejected you on the grounds of health and safety were being honest. I think they were just looking for an excuse to reject you without saying that they were rejecting you because you're blind, because that's obviously illegal.
Yes. Now, I will say, in my case, the story has a very, very happy ending. I found a couple of different places who who were very happy to work with me. But there's a lot of people's stories that do not have such a happy ending. And I think that what I'd like to say in this video, that just because someone has disability or someone has this or someone has that, give them the same chance that you would give anyone else. If they can do the job, great. If they can't, well, they can't, but at least you can say, gave them the same shot as you'd give anyone else.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of perseverance on John's part to actually get these volunteer roles in the 2 radio stations that he's volunteering at and producing a show for.
Yes, and I will say both stations have been really, really supportive and helpful.
Yes. Well, for me, I could understand it if as a blind person you phoned up your local bus company and said that you wanted to be a bus driver and then said that you were blind. You would expect to be rejected because obviously that is a job that you can't do if you can't see what you're doing. But for something that John was good at and he'd got proven experience at, I don't understand the rejections that he had in the beginning at all. Some of them I do, and I understand the point that they were making about health and safety, but a lot of them I don't.
Oh yeah, I mean, one of the places that we went, they mentioned health and safety, but they also explained why.
So what we're saying is, don't have preconceptions about what somebody can or cannot do, unless it's really obvious, like the bus driving example and being blind. But just don't have these preconceptions. Just because some part of the body doesn't work properly, in John's case his eyes and his ears, it doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing a job, and they can think for themselves. Because that's something else that we could bring up as well. While I've just mentioned thinking for yourself, the times that we have gone out to eat and say it's just the 2 of us, they'll give us 2 printed menus. Now obviously a printed menu for John is neither use nor ornament because he can't see it. So they still give you 2 anyway. So we only look at 1 and then I read out what's on the menu. And they'll come to take the order and they'll always ask me what both of us want. So I've got into the habit now, I just say what I want and then I just say to John, and what do you want, John? So that they actually speak to him, because he is capable of thinking for himself and speaking for himself and deciding what it is he wants off the menu, even though he can't actually see what the menu is.
Very true. Hey, if I can go back, if I can backpedal just for a second. If you're someone with a disability and you're going for something, be prepared to be flexible.
How do you mean?
Well,
I just had images of gymnasts then, I'm sorry. How do you mean flexible?
That's quite the image, really. For both radio things that I'm doing, we're not actually going in to do the programs. One of them had said, hey, can you record from home? Yes. So, if someone's interested and someone says, can you do such and such, and it's reasonable, take it. If when you go into somewhere, don't go in with the attitude that if they have to accommodate me and do things the way that I want to do them.
So you're asking for a bit of give and take, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when there's a bit of give and take, it's helpful. And I think it's also something else that you've got to be really careful with as well, because let's say they have a bad experience with you, well, potentially
They'll tar everybody with the same brush.
Exactly. Well, we dealt with this one. We dealt with someone.
We dealt
like
with
that
a
before.
blind person who was a complete pain in the rear, so therefore all blind people are a complete pain in the rear to work with.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is something that shouldn't happen, that generalisation, but people do that.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you go into something, go in with the attitude of I'm probably going to have to be flexible on something.
Compromise. The spirit of compromise.
Yes.
Yes.
Cooperation. Wasn't that a song?
I've no idea. Anyway,
It was a song.
on that Duff musical note, John, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up.
Please tell your friends and share.
And if you don't already, please hit the subscribe button and you'll never miss one of our weekly uploads again.
Including my singing.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye now.